night there, I just sat down and talked to her and asked her if she'd be willing to write down like her story about like her experience there and everything like that. And I just wanted to read a quick excerpt and then talk to you a little bit about invisible children. So it starts off with, after the president's plane had been shot down, massacres began. On that day, I woke up and found my parents in a very sad mood that I'd never seen them in before. A few hours later, the killing started, and we fled our home and went to hide in the bush. Friends turned against us and could not hide us. Instead, they called on the militia to kill us. It was my first time to see my mom cry after her friend offered to hide us, but later chased us out of the house. On seeing the killers, it was horrible. So her friend had offered to hide them, and then immediately turned against them and drove them out of the house as soon as she found out that the two soldiers were coming to kill them. And it really brings to light the situation of like survival, like you think about yourself first, the survival instincts kick in. But it really it pains me to think that like a friend or someone you think of as a friend would turn on you that quickly. And that's all I really would be able to read right now without getting too emotional. But what I really wanted to talk to you guys also about is Uganda. How many of you guys have heard of the organization Invisible Children? Okay, so as you know, they're working to end the war in northern Uganda that's been going on for 23 years now. And I'll be 20 on April 25th. And I never, like in the 18 years before I found out about Invisible Children, I had never heard anything about Uganda, anything about Sudan, nothing like that. Like it's been like kind of tossed around and stuff like that, but it never really like caught me until Invisible Children came along and really inspired me to get involved. And so my senior year of high school, I raised $22,000 for them, and because of that, they sent me to Uganda for 2 weeks in August to experience like, what we're doing. One of the things that we're doing is we're rebuilding 10 schools there in northern Uganda, because when we asked the people of northern Uganda what they wanted, what would help in their eyes bring an end to this war, time after time after time, the answer that the elders gave us was education. If we can educate our kids, they will be able to take control of our country and turn it back around to the way it used to be, or into a place that nobody's ever seen before, which would be absolutely amazing. 23 years of war is ridiculous. I can't even like grasp the fact that it's been going on for that long, and it really, every day it reminds me, like I remind myself like what I'm fighting for, what I'm doing every day. On top of that, Invisible Children is doing an international event this April 25th in Grand Rapids. That's the closest one to here. And the whole concept behind it is to represent, like have yourself represent the thousands and thousands of kids that have been abducted in Uganda, not only Uganda, but the Congo, Sudan, Central African Republic, everywhere. Represent them by abducting yourself, participating in this event, and waiting until, we're trying to get these people to come save us, like the media. Because everybody knows how big the media has a role in world affairs, but they seem to not shed light on those situations unless there's some sort of American involvement, it always seems like. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that in some regard. And so if you guys would be interested in participating in that event, you can talk to myself or Emily outside of the table right after we're all wrapped up here. But other than that, I just want to thank you for your time, and don't forget about anything you've heard today, like as culture shock or anything I've said right now, because the situation's still going on today. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Now that really concludes our culture shock. I want to remind you of this gentleman here, right? You can see him live. If anybody has anything to say to him, he's there. And also, if you want to know more about Invisible Children, he'll be out there waiting for you as well. So, you guys have a good night.